I'm Matt Handy, and you're listening to My Last Relapse. Okay, Mike.
How's it going?
How's it going?
Not bad.
Okay, how was your weekend?
It was crazy. I went to Camp Soberfest, and I've never done anything like that.
Yeah.
I've never camped as a kid. Well, I've camped like tents here and there, like rarely, but like a summer camp type of thing.
Yeah.
Full of people in the program.
Wild?
It was good. I mean, I'm so busy with like the day to day. I'm never a part of something like that.
Oh, shit. Hold on.
Gotta move this.
Yeah.
Okay.
6 inches from your face. And you can articulate it however you want.
Oh, okay. No, it was a completely different experience because I look at people that, like, I don't know, we all have, like, fears or insecurities, and we don't really, like, you just kind of hide behind them. I don't really think about it, but when it comes to, like, seeing people get up on stage and just kind of act a fool and not care about it in front of a group of people, just made me feel like, if they can do it, why can't I do it? So I ended up doing, like, karaoke, and somebody signed me up for the talent show, and I just had, like, just a lot of deeper conversations with people I normally just wouldn't come up to and have those conversations because we were all in the same place for the 4 days or whatever. Mm-hmm. But it was, I got out of it more than what I anticipated.
For sure.
Was really cool.
For sure. YPA, do you know what YPA is?
Yeah.
Dude, those events are fucking nuts.
I feel like I'm too old to go to them now.
Well, it's young at heart.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And so you define that however you want. Like, I went to the YPA convention here a couple of years ago in Austin.
Okay.
It's just fucking wild. But my brother my brother's sober.
Yeah.
He got into YPA. He got sober really young. I think he went to treatment the first time at 17 or 18.
Yeah.
It was right before I went to prison. So yeah, he was like 17. Yeah. When, being young, being sober and being that young, especially when you're already an addict, it's a daunting thought to be like, I'm going to be sober for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And he was wild. He was like so the reason he went to treatment is because he was on so much Xanax and he was selling ecstasy and like living with me.
Yeah.
And it was it was a mess, dude. First of all, it was a fucking mess. When we got evicted from the house, there were no windows, there was no front door. It was just the carpet had to be. I mean, when we left the house, the owner of the property was like family friends of ours, and they called me and they were like, "Look, we don't want any money. We just never want you to ever step foot on another one of our properties again."
Yeah.
I was like, okay, bye.
I had one of those situations. I think I moved into this little house right around the corner from my parents, and the landlord lived on property.
Oh boy.
And by the end of it, like all the windows were painted with that like clear, or that you can get that spray paint that looks like a mirror so nobody could see it. He's like,
oh yeah.
He's like, you don't owe me anything, you just have to go.
Yeah.
I was like, all right.
Dude, when I went to sign that lease, I was on so much Xanax. My brother went with me, and he was holding my hand to sign the lease. Oh, dude, it was a fucking mess. It was a mess. But he was on so much Xanax, he crashed his car 3 times on the way to work. Ended up at work with no car and had no clue how it happened.
That's crazy.
It was crazy.
Yeah, I never had a good experience with Xanax. I think the last time I took it, I was withdrawing, and my girlfriend at the time, she's like, just take a Xanax. She didn't tell me how much of it to take, and I never really took it. So I took a full one. I remember driving on the freeway, and I was just like, there was a semi on my left, and I went tink, 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 tink against the semi, and I was like, oh shit, and I veered off the freeway and parked at like a Denny's, and then I woke up a day later, and I'm like, what happened? My car's all messed.
Xanax is time traveling technology.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. I think that was the last time I took it.
Dude, it's. Do you ever talk to women that got addicted to Xanax?
Oh yeah.
And hear those stories?
Yeah.
They all steal. Yeah. Dude, they all end up waking up with like new wardrobes and like.
That's true.
Dude, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, YPA, their events. So when he got sober, that's where he kind of got plugged into the recovery communities.
Yeah.
And he ended up being on national bid committees and like winning bids to host the international convention and like just crazy shit. And he would tell me stories. They would do scavenger hunts.
Yeah.
Where they would just like make the craziest, like you had to go to the top of the tallest building that you could and like record it and like scream all of your sober dates off of it. You'd have to get your sober date tattooed.
Oh, that's crazy.
Like just insane
stuff.
shit. Yeah, they were playing capture the flag where they would go steal everybody's collateral off of their booths or like their flags and stuff and like holding them hostage. Pictures of like, and they're all hopped up on like caffeine and and so like people like crash after 3 days of being up on just caffeine. Yeah, and just fucking with them and just.
I've heard about it. The first time I heard about the YPOS stuff was in Portland because I've been in and out of AA and stuff like that. I think I was in my late 20s. But I never made it to an event. Yeah. It's
a cool place for young people to get sober. Yeah, it really is.
Oh, I didn't. I wish I would have knew I had a problem when I was younger. I just thought that's life, and until people started fading off and doing real stuff, and I'm still partying. Yeah. I think I was 30 when I realized, like, oh shit, I actually I have a problem with it.
Yeah, I had that realization. Have you heard this story? Mm-mm. So I was making fun of my brother for being sober while I was in prison.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I had lost a marriage, lost a kid. Yeah. I'm in prison at 19 already. Got arrested at 18. In prison at 19. Yeah. And in the California prison system, it's just that's a mess. Yeah. And then I get out at 21, like 21 and a half. Yeah. I OD 3 days after I get out. And then I stay strung out for months, and I circumstantially had to tell my parents that I was using drugs again because I was messing with this girl. Yeah. I was messing with my ex-wife. Yeah. And that is like, she was born and raised in TJ. Yeah. She's just a crazy. Yeah. And she like got high with me and then told me that she was going to tell my parents. Okay. So I had to beat her to it. Yeah. And I called my dad. It was like 3 a.m. I'm in Menifee at my aunt and uncle's house thinking that like I'm going to go kick up there. Yeah. And I call him and I'm like, Dad, it's like 3 a.m. I'm like, Dad, I need to tell you something. And he was like, okay. I was like, but Mom can't hear this. So I can hear him like get up. Yeah. Probably go into his closet, shut the door. Yeah. He went into somewhere and like shut the door. Yeah. He was like, okay, what's up? I was like, I relapsed. Yeah. And I even used the word relapsed, right? And I was like, and he was like, what? Dude, what? Like, what? Used the word relapse. Yeah. He had no clue that like I used all through prison. Yeah. I used the entire time that I was out. I used through culinary school. Like I was using the whole time, right? Manipulating probation. Like, and he was like, what? What happened? Like you were doing so good. And then he said it. He goes, what are you, like some kind of addict? And I was like, oh shit, I'm a drug addict. Yeah. And I was like, and I started using drugs super young. Yeah. Ended up in prison basically because of drugs, right? Made fun of my brother, like all this shit. And then it was just that one question where I finally, I'm sure everybody else thought it.
Yeah. Oh, we're the last to think it.
Oh, dude, I was so delusional.
I remember one time, I was telling somebody this the other day, like, because I lived with my parents back and forth because I was at party too much. I couldn't pay my bills. And I remember, you know how big, like, 65-inch TVs back in the day were, like, super expensive. Yeah. So I had, like, my Pride and Joy TV, and so I had that up there. And in between payday, like, the 3-4 day gap between paychecks, I'd pawn my TV. Mm. My dad would be like, what's wrong with your TV? And I'm like, oh, the color tube went out. So I pawned it probably, like, 6 times. Like, so every 2 weeks, 6 times in a row. And then he's like, hey, can I talk to you about something? And I'm like, oh, fuck, I'm caught. And he's like, why don't you just get a new TV? Like, I go, they're expensive. And then probably a few weeks later, it's like the notes on the counter, like, hey, I think you have a problem. Yeah. And I'm like, oh. Yeah.
Oh, so he was throwing that out there as like, dude, yeah. 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 Okay, so tell me about you.
Oh, where do I start?
Well, okay, you don't know Dr. Shaw yet, right? Mm-mm. Okay. Dr. Shaw always says that nobody escapes their childhood unscathed. Yeah. So that's a good spot to start, typically.
Oh yeah, that was that's probably where a lot of things were embedded. You know, when I was 3, I think the courts took me and my sister away from my parents. My mom was pretty big into meth, so was my dad.
Okay. When was this?
I'm 44, so 31 years ago, or 41 years ago.
To what year? This is like the late 80s or mid 80s?
Oh yeah, it was probably 85, 86.
Okay.
Yeah, right around that time frame.
Okay.
Which I feel like you had to do more back then to get your kids taken away.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was repetitive. Like I found out later on that it was like
Over
many
and
reminders
over.
and many reminders. You know, and I know we went to my grandparents for a little bit, but they couldn't afford to raise me and my sister or whatever the circumstance was. I don't know, but we went from that to a foster home, a couple of them.
Okay.
And so it was a pretty short window for all that, though. I think it was between like 3 and 4.5, like a year and a half of that.
Okay.
And then my parents now, they adopted us, they fostered us, I guess I could say, for 2 years, and then they legally adopted us when I was in kindergarten.
Your parents?
Yeah, well, I call them my parents now, yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
My
Your adopted parents?
My adopted parents,
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
Yeah, and it was, for me, I was younger than my sister. My sister's a year and a half older.
Okay.
So she had a memory of my mom. I really didn't. Mm-hmm. And so for that transition, like the first thing they did was they threw this like party like for us, right? And so I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Like I don't think I had a gift in years, you know. They had this house with like 5 acres, and so there was grass, and like it just felt different, you know.
Yeah.
And I remember that party was like it was basically to introduce us to their friends and to the family and stuff like that.
That's awesome.
And so from then forward, like I've always related to them as my parents.
For sure.
You know, my sister though had like a harder time with it, and so growing up, she was like, "Well, you're not my mom, you're not my dad. I'm gonna live with my mom someday." And so that like, and it's funny because if you erase that first 3.5 years or 4 years, my mom was a teacher, my dad was a pilot, or he owned an accounting company. Like they're very good, solid people, you know. But I think that always made me feel like, what am I missing though? You know, growing up, even though I wasn't like physically, I was inside.
Yeah,
you know. So that's kind of like how my life got kicked off. I didn't end up. I met my mom for the first time, my biological mom. I think I was 19 or 20 when my grandpa passed away.
Okay.
So in that process, the one thing they asked for is that we still stay connected with our grandparents. So my grandpa and grandma would come once a month to see us and take us to do stuff. So we had like some sort of a connection to that side of the family, but I never really was curious. I don't think I was like outwardly curious about it, but probably internally, like I would think and process some of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had never really heard anything about my dad or knew anything about that. So there was always like this feeling of like, oh, I wonder who my dad is, you know? So that was, I mean, I didn't see the effects of any of that until I got into relationships and my patterns and stuff like that
For sure.
down the road. But I didn't really start, my path down the road until probably my junior year or senior year when I really wanted to drink or wanted to go. Actually, I wanted to get out of the house. My parents were, because they adopted us, they were like super strict on stuff.
For sure.
Like they didn't let us go to kids' houses unless they knew the parents. And if they didn't like them, we didn't go there.
For sure.
Know? And so when we started getting into high school and stuff, I'd see all these other people. They'd be able to go do stuff on the weekends, or they'd have more freedom, you know, and get into trouble here and there. And like, so I was always curious and wanted to do that. But I always felt like shyer and like I didn't really belong or fit in to those groups. I was always trying to like chameleon into it. And I remember we'd have an alarm system, so they would set the alarm. So if I walked down the stairs, it'd go off, you know? And so I was like, I can't ever sneak out or leave. Yeah. And I think it was my sophomore year. My best friend down the road, he had an older sister, so she was a senior and she was super cute. Like I always had this like crush on his sister, and she was throwing a party. And like that weekend, my dad, like we had these trees, you know, those little skinny trees that are like all fancy looking.
Ficus trees?
I think so.
They use them as hedges?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we had a couple of those on our. My room was upstairs, like in front of the house, right, and it had a little roof there, and they had these trees there. So my dad trimmed the trees, and I looked at it and I'm like, that looks like a step, because there was like about a 6-inch stump on it. So I'm like, so I took my screen off that Friday or Saturday night, and I realized I could climb down the roof. So now the alarm didn't matter. So that was my first time really going out and getting drunk. I remember that night so perfectly because for the first time, like, I was talking to his sister, I was talking to everybody, I had no fear, you know. But what I didn't realize is I can't climb that tree back up to my room.
Oh, no.
So I like fell onto the. They woke up. I got in trouble. Like I always got caught for everything I did. But I remember from that moment forward, I just wanted to be part of that again, like at all cost. You know, that was kind of went through my mind. So any opportunity I had to get away with it, because I had to be real careful because I suck at lying and I get in trouble for everything. So like the window had to be perfect for me to get away with it, and then I would go for it. You know, and so that kind of. But it was only drinking it, and then it started, you know, smoking weed in high school with some of the friends. But I don't know if they knew the whole time or they just like didn't want to confront me about it, you know, because they're not very confrontational. Because I remember I worked at a battery place, and I'd smoke a little bit before I got home, and I'd always have like had my little routine so I wouldn't get in trouble, you know. And I remember we smoked this joint or blunt, and I'm like. And then I was like, oh, do we have any Visine? And I didn't have any extra money for Visine because I spent it all on the weed. And my friend's like, no, you're fine. Don't worry about it. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I get home. I look in the mirror. I'm like, oh, no. My eyes were so bad, right? So I remember I walk in the front door, and my dad's, like, sitting in his recliner. And I'm 30 feet from him. He was like, what happened to your eyes? I'm like, oh, I was like, I spilt battery acid in them at work. I'm like, 'cause I'm pretty quick. And he's like, come here. So he's like this close to my face. And I'm just like fucking scared shitless because I hate getting in trouble. And he's like, weird. And I go, yeah, I'm gonna go lay down and see if it helps. And I remember I go upstairs for like an hour or so, and as soon as they clear up, I go down for dinner, and nobody said another word about it. But like, yeah. I don't think he's an idiot.
Yeah. Weird. Huh.
So, I don't know. Ask me more. What?
Okay. Yeah. Did you go to college?
For a quarter.
That's it. Checks the fuck out.
3 times. Yeah.
3 times. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So you were raised in a really strict home. I was raised Mormon.
Oh, okay.
And I think that fed into a lot of when I had the freedom to do what I wanted, I did what the fuck I wanted.
Yeah.
And but then I also had a ton of younger siblings, so there was literally not enough time for them to like have the proper oversight.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then it was like I was the oldest too, and so I was another driver. And so they would let me. I also got expelled at 16,
okay,
and then graduated 2 months later before I turned 17.
Oh wow!
And was using real drugs.
Yeah,
like I had heroin dealers at my high school.
No, okay.
Right. There was daycare center. There was a daycare center for the girls at my high school that had kids.
Is that in California?
Yeah.
I heard that's a thing here in California.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so my school was just wild. Yeah. Right. It was in San Marcos too. So it was like far enough from the city that we couldn't go, and it was far enough from the beach that like it wasn't worth it. And so we would just find these like vacant fields, and like we'd go up to this mountain, like the top of this mountain, and dude, this mountain you could see TJ, and then like all the way out to Borrego.
Oh, okay.
Right. And so we just spent so much time like up there, and it was also like right down the street from my parents. Anyway.
Yeah.
But I spent like a lot of time what I thought was having fun, and what I realize now is that like I was laying the groundwork for like a hardcore addiction.
Yeah.
Right. So like, did that happen to you at all?
And I want to go back and say I think they're more safe than strict, right? They.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I was naive to everything, right?
Okay.
It didn't like. I feel like I always look back and I'm like, did the people that got away with going out and doing all that stuff learned really early on and then kind of grew out of it? or did I wait and then explore that when I was an adult? You know, I would have, and so I kind of go back and forth on that sometimes. I think that that addictive personality has always been there, and I just never had a chance to tap into it until I had a little bit more freedom.
Yeah.
Because as soon as I mean, when I went to college, I just started not going to classes. My girlfriend got pregnant in the first 2 weeks.
Jeez.
You know, and then I'd wait. I think I waited. I mean, I waited for them to fail me out of it. And my dad's like, why didn't you just unenroll? He's like, if you're not going to go to class, then at least I get my money back. I'm like, you're right. So I tried it again, did the same fucking thing to him. And I did it 3 times. He finally said, I'm not paying for school anymore. Because every single time I do it, I went and I walked on to Central Oregon to play baseball, and then I didn't even touch the practice field. I couldn't even get my grades in, you know? But you know, that switch, because like our high school split into 2 high schools, and so for the new high school that we went to, my sophomore year, there was no seniors.
That's
and there
what
was
happened to
like
me.
there was like 15 or no, there was probably like 50 juniors. So from my sophomore year on, we were like the seniors of the class.
Yeah.
You know, so it was kind of a weird mix of like going through college or going through high school. But my identity on that was when I could find a way to go out and escape. That's when I really I thought that was like my real self when I was out partying with them. And that's how I like acquired friendships and stuff. And so, you know, it was always about like, can I drink more? Can I get a cuter girlfriend than you? Or, you know, it was all about that type of stuff. It's how I felt like I fit in. And then when I got to college, I had total freedom. Then other drugs were introduced, and I just didn't have a stop. You know.
How did the drugs get, like, in what order were they introduced? Because you ended up on heroin, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so let's go down that.
Well, I always made a rule that I would never do meth because I was that from my childhood, which I broke later on. But it went weed, alcohol, cocaine, painkillers. Oh, cocaine, Molly, bunch of that back and forth.
Yeah.
Heroin was at the end, and then after heroin, I don't like the downer feeling.
Really?
No, so that's why I started mixing it with meth, because I wanted to function. Because I didn't want to just nod out and be high. I wanted to actually keep a job and do all that. So I felt like if I could make the perfect recipe of a little bit of meth and a little bit of heroin, that I could keep going. I kept going. I just didn't do any work after that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but I remember it was like the stupidest reason to try heroin was what happened. Like I had this super toxic relationship, and I remember I came back from work and basically walked in on my girlfriend and her ex-boyfriend, right? Yeah. And then there was a bunch of heroin laying around. And then so instead of me being like, you're out of there or I'm out of there, I'm like, fuck it, I'm going to do heroin. And then he was my dealer.
Logical.
Yeah.
Very logical.
Oh, and it was like back and forth, and he robbed me, I'd rob him back. And then I was working at a dental lab at that place, and they put me in charge of like their gold department. And so like, dude, I there would be like little tiny pieces of gold after you clean up every tooth or whatever. And I'm like, well, if I just saved enough, you know? And so then that turned into like every day I would probably melt down like a couple grams of gold and then pawn it. And I got in a lot of trouble for that one though. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, the progression once I got to the heroin, I mean, in that process, though, in that whole gap, like when I'd go out, like I ended up getting 3 DUIs. I still didn't think I had a problem. I just thought the cops were like
fucking with you.
Oh my god! In Olympia, they pull you over for anything, and
Olympia's gorgeous.
It is.
Yeah.
They are kind of, they do mess with you down there. Back then, I mean, you would go 5 miles an hour over, you get pulled over.
Yeah.
And maybe it was just the fact that I probably had like expired plates or this or that. It was me the whole time, but. I mean, my first DUI was a .07 up in Seattle, and I was.
Man!
And I told him I was like, "Well, I'm the DD," and he's like, "But you had a drink." And I'm like, "Yeah, like 2 hours ago." And I'm like, "If you knew how I drink, like that is sober for me, you know." So they took my car, gave me the DUI, and then when I was like, my dad rented his house to a public defender, so he's like, "Well, he'll take care of you. Like, we'll do this." He's like, just don't get any more trouble. We're going to defer it. instead of trying to fight it at a .07, I'm like, okay. But before I even got to court, I got my second DUI. So now they were both on the table. So by the time I got my third one, I was like, I don't want to go to prison for drinking. And so that's when I switched over to just doing pills.
Yeah.
And then that started that whole animal.
Yeah. So this was what, the late 90s, early 2000s already?
No, this was already like 2010.
Oh.
Yeah. I went through years of functioning as drinking and doing coke and holding jobs, you know?
Yeah.
And I started working in cell phones and moved my way up to, towards the end of that career, I was running like Washington, Oregon. They moved me around. So I went to Philadelphia to run a market. I ended up getting like a partial ownership of another Verizon company. And so I was really good in that process of just finding good people for sales and training them, and I was really good at sales. And so, I mean, but we would do, like, we worked those kiosks in the mall, and I remember when they closed the mall down, we'd do lines off the glass in the mall. You know, like, it was always a fucking party.
Yeah.
You know, every night we'd go out. So I ended up starting moving closer and closer to Seattle just because there was more options to go out. But then, like, yeah, then I found opiates, and I was like, that was my new love.
Seattle's, like, historically been like a heroin mecca, too.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I mean, I was so naive to all that stuff. Like,
really?
When you said you had dealers in high school, like,
yeah.
I mean, our biggest thing was we probably had a weed dealer, and maybe somebody did some coke here and there that I didn't know about.
Wow.
Yeah.
My high school was a fucking mess, though. Like I said, it opened the year that I went there.
Yeah.
And I was a sophomore. And so there was juniors. But my graduating, if I wouldn't have gotten expelled, there was like 1,000 kids in my graduating class.
Yeah, I think I was a graduating class of like 200 and something.
The class that I graduated with, I was one of 6.
Yeah.
At the juvenile court correctional school, and the other 5 went off to prison right after.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
See, and I don't know how. I mean, I think that was like God's plan for me is I didn't get real time for anything. I always had this like weird, like when I got my like slew of charges, then that was the first time I got offered drug court. And then my last charge before I came out to California was I met somebody that taught me how to mailbox and do all that, and he was making fake IDs, and so I'd stay up all night trying to figure out how to learn it. And the last ID that we did was like a cop's ID.
Oh, no.
And I went around and used that for a lot of different things. And then I got caught at a casino at the end of it. But the casino, that casino couldn't charge you as a felon. I couldn't do felony charges for whatever reason. So I get caught with the card. They put me in jail. I get bailed out by the guy who taught me how to make them because he probably thought I was going to say something. You know, I went to court and they like dismissed all charges. I'm like, what the heck? So and that was at the same time I'm like, I need to do something different. This was right before I came out to California. So I go into California. I'm in detox, and like 2 weeks later, my mom calls and she's like, hey, you got mail. They reopened those charges and you have to come back for court. And I'm like, fuck. But even in those charges and all that stuff, they ended up, because of the court system, it was in this tiny little town, they dropped everything but attempted theft.
Wow.
So I was like, okay. Because I went back and I told him, I said, look, I'm 6 months sober now. I'm working in a sober living. I'm doing this and this. And he's like, can you afford to pay your fine? I said, honestly, I can barely afford the $5 that I need to take the bus to get to work. And he goes, we're gonna convert it to community service. And like they just fucking gave me like this, like, okay, if you're doing, and I'd already done drug court and completed it. So like I have a history of like fucking up and trying to fix it and trying. And so he said, all right, he's like, I'm glad you're on the right path again. He's like, I'm going to do this, this, and this. And that was all I got at the end of it.
Yeah.
You know?
My dad would say that you have a charmed life.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
My dad's an attorney.
Yeah.
And he represented me in one of my cases.
Okay.
But after that whole story that I told you about, like realizing I was an addict, I split. Like I was like, I'm at a crossroads in my life, right? And I could see it for what it was because I'd watch my uncle go through the same thing, but my grandma enabled him.
Yeah.
Like bad, right? To the point where he was able to systematically burn all of his bridges with our family, but he had my grandma to like always like save him. Well, my parents aren't my grandparents, right?
Oh, okay.
And my parents are like we have addicts in our family,
Yeah.
right? I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
And my dad and mom, my mom is an addict too, right? Like
Yeah.
smoked meth and PCP and a bunch of other shit, and like, but so they kind of understand like you can't just enable these people to do this, and so I knew at that point in my life I was like, I'm either gonna run this down and burn all the bridges, and then I'm just gonna permanently fuck my chances with my family,
Yeah.
or I can just take off,
Yeah.
right? And so I took off, and I didn't talk to some of my family members. It wasn't for 14 years, but the majority of
Yeah.
them it was 10, like more than 10,
Okay.
and I ran for 10 years, and he had watched me. They had an executive in the sheriff's office that was a friend,
Yeah.
and so every time I got arrested, he would email them the case and my booking picture.
Yeah.
And my dad, when I finally came back, he would tell me, he was like, dude, I don't know how you did it.
Yeah.
Like, how did you, because I've done a lot of prison time.
Yeah.
But he was like, I was so sure so many times you were going to do life. Like,
Oh,
I was
really?
so sure.
Yeah.
And then like a month later, you'd be out, like whatever, you know, like,
Yeah.
or you'd get a couple of years, right? And it was
Yeah.
like, and it was funny because the case that he represented me on was the case I got fucked on the worst.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The rest of it was like public defenders. Dude, so my last arrest,
Yeah.
residential burglary, bank robbery, possession for sales, selling drugs to cops, weapons possessions, vandalism, like just a bunch of, I mean, it looked fucked up.
Yeah.
Right? I think like before they started dropping charges, it was like 38 felonies.
Yeah.
And then what they finally ended up charging me with, like, and actually like settled with, was 17 felonies.
Yeah.
And then what I actually signed for, I ended up in treatment.
Oh, that's crazy.
Right? And
Yeah.
and the deal was 33 years.
That's nuts.
The deal was 33, and they were telling my public defender, like, 33 is the deal. If you want a better deal, go to trial.
Yeah.
Right? And I was like, definitely not going to trial.
Yeah.
And so when I got back, I was like, yeah, like, I'm so lucky to be here. He'd be like, lucky?
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
if you don't believe in God by now, like,
Right?
you need to
Yeah.
do some soul searching. I'm like, yeah, for sure.
100%.
For sure.
Yeah, I've had a ton of that. So many things. Like, it took me a while to realize that too. Like, I didn't believe in all that because, I mean, you go from. I mean, I went from like the whole adoption. I lived on the victim mentality, you know. So I was adopted, and then so the girl that I had a kid with my first year of college, she ended up dying in a head-on car accident when my son was 3, and then there was like just thing after thing, and I'm like, God's never been there for me, you know? And so it was a hard one for me to wrap my head around when I came down here. And then I like really thought about it. I'm like, man, he saved me in every single spot,
For
you know?
sure.
And I've gotten away with so much stuff that I shouldn't, you know, so many second chances or third chances and fourth chances and stuff like that. And so when I finally accepted that and started, okay, there's a reason I'm here, you know, and then that's when I really started like growing internally, I think.
How old were you?
Probably 35.
Okay.
Yeah, when that really hit me.
Yeah, we are. I tell people all the time. So I'm not Christian.
I'm not really either.
Okay. Well, in the Bible, it says that there are a chosen few. Like, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter what they do. They're going to go to heaven. God already chose them.
Yeah.
Right? But I tell people that in addiction, we're not the chosen few. We're the few that choose.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you can make it out of there,
Yeah.
you really have control of your entire life.
Yeah.
Like, we are, as the kind of addicts that we are, right? Like, it's not and good on them too, right? The people that, like, I know a guy that he got drunk one time at 16,
Yeah.
got beat up at the Oceanside Pier, like jumped and like entered recovery, and he's like 35 now.
Yeah.
Just been sober
Yeah.
the whole time. So like he immediately knew there was a problem.
Yeah.
That wasn't me.
No.
And for addicts like us, it's like we are willing to do things, have done things, and can and will do those things that the majority of the world would never consider.
Yeah.
Right. And so because of that, I feel like a lot of people enter recovery and then they like retreat into a shell. They're just scared
Yeah.
to fuck up.
Yeah.
Right. Or they're scared. You know, you hear all these weird things in the rooms where it's like scared of success, scared of failure, scared
Yeah,
of
yeah.
whatever. and that's fine. They can say whatever they want, but
Yeah.
if you really walk it down, I think what it ultimately is like you're just scared to do anything,
Yeah.
right? And so it's like because of all the negative consequences that have mounted, and you've either escaped or had to face or whatever,
Yeah.
you just don't want to do shit,
Yeah.
right? And it's like that's fine too if that's how you want to live your life, but there's a world of opportunity for people like us out there because of who we became, because of the like all of the conflict and all of the confrontation and all the bullshit.
I think we have an advantage on that side of it.
Oh yeah.
Because a lot of people that haven't lived or gone through what we've gone through, like it's easy for me to have a rough day because I'm like, this is nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we have this, you know, but for somebody that has never seen the shittiest side of this world, you know, they don't even know how good they have it.
For sure.
You know?
You know what I tell people is that the majority of the world, so if you actually look at the statistics and like what statistical data set is represented by people in long-term recovery, there's hardly any of us.
I know.
Right? And so the majority of the world stays in the solution and never tries to venture towards the problem. Whereas we're coming from the problem towards a solution, so we have a completely different perspective.
Yeah.
Right? And so it's like when you get sober, if you can quit doing heroin, if you can quit drinking, if you can quit meth, if you can quit those things, there is nothing. I believe this. There's nothing that you can't do.
Yeah.
Right? This has got to be like, maybe other than like childbirth, it's got to be like one of the hardest things a human can go through.
I remember my mom was always like my biggest like motivator, right? And she'd always say it when I was growing up. She's like, you can do anything you put your mind to. I'm like, not really. You know, like I grew up that way. Like, no, like that's a good idea.
Yeah.
And I mean, I believe it 100% now. I mean, it might take a little bit longer to do what you really want to do, but you can put little tiny pieces together and get there eventually, you know?
Yeah, I think we have like a planning issue. A lot of us, like, plans fall through and then we just like end up doing the next logical thing, which really is like the next logical thing because like so I'm adopted too.
Oh, okay.
Right? I'm adopted by my dad who effectively, I have a weird family dynamic, right? Like my biological father is my dad's best friend and has been since they were kids.
Oh, okay.
And so I was adopted with my two younger brothers who are twins. They're 20 months younger than me. They have no memory of our biological parents together, but I do.
Oh, okay.
And but that was Uncle Mark.
Gotcha.
Right? And so like when they were 8 years old, I told them that they were adopted and that is our dad.
Yeah.
Right? Just being a dick. But yeah, dude. But like there are contributing factors to why we do what we do.
Yeah.
There are, and a lot of us do fall into victim mentality. There's a lot of us do, and it's for a good reason. We're kind of told that we can.
Yeah.
Socially.
Yeah.
Right? And then that's just gotten worse over the last 10 years. Yeah. But a lot of people in addiction fall into this victimhood mentality, and it's logically warranted. Right? Like you were molested as a kid, your parents left you, you were born on crack, whatever.
Yeah.
Right? And people tell me all the time, like, God, you were homeless? Like you were whatever? Like, God, I'm so sorry that you had to go through that. It's like, I'm 37 now. I turned 37 in a couple months.
Yeah.
And 20 years of like hardcore addiction.
Yeah.
9 years of prison. Like just all this shit that I've gone through. And it's like, I'm still basically on track as everybody else.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Like right where basically all the rest of my peers are, like professionally, career-wise, and obviously like I didn't start where they started. They started in high school.
Yeah.
Then they went to college, then they went to whatever. And so I have a unique track anyway, but we can do it, dude. Yeah. Like it blows me away when it's like, you're a 12-step guy, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So this isn't to disparage the rooms or you and I have we've talked about this, right?
Yeah.
And it's like the guy that ends up in the back of the room 30 years sober and he's like, well, I just didn't drink today, so it's a win.
Yeah.
It's like, dude.
No, I was talking to somebody about that the other day because my biggest thing was putting that like, they're like, you have to make this your priority. And I always looked at it like, okay, so you're telling me I have to go to meetings every single day. I have to do this, this, and this, and like there's this way to do it to be successful. And so my sponsor and I, like my program today looks like if I'm in town on Tuesdays, I meet with my sponsor, I meet with my sponsee. That's about it. I'll do panels. I help a lot of people in the community. I sponsor like sober teams. I'm in with people that are sober, but I'm not living in a room anymore, you know?
Yeah.
And so I had to finally wrap my head around like living this program first means like I'm not going out and being an asshole and creating more amends and stuff that I have to make.
Right.
I recognize if I'm lying about something and quickly like correct it. I'm making it first from the steps that I took. Like I feel like the the steps, no matter who you are, is going to benefit you in a way. It's like,
Yep.
like I have a sponsee and he's, you know, doing a psychiatrist over here and this over here. I'm like, those steps is your counseling, internal counseling for yourself. And if you can figure that out, you can do anything after that. You don't really, you can whatever program outline or, you know,
like pathway you're gonna like work
is gonna be okay.
Yeah.
It's gonna work out, you know. But I also feel like there's so many different levels. Like I always say, like there's some people that have an addiction problem, and then when they get through that, like their mind is clear. And there's some people that are definitely a mental and an addiction side, and that line varies. And some people do require more meetings and more concentrated effort to maintain it than other people. It's just everybody has a different little gauge on that.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure.
So there's no right or wrong way to get sober or to live a different life, in my opinion. My biggest thing is like anything that kind of interrupts your mind is going to alter it, right?
for sure.
So I don't know.
Yeah, I think I very vocal about just I'm very public about my opinions about recovery and like dogmatic belief systems, and like I was raised Mormon.
Yeah.
Like, come on, like, and so it's like I'm also big into peer support, right?
Yeah.
And work with a bunch of people and certify sober coaches, and like, and I make sure I tell everybody that it's like there are, you know who William White is? Mm-hmm. William White wrote a book. He's written a bunch of books, but in one of his books, he said that in the history of addiction and recovery, there's never been anything more successful in the treating and healing of addiction than the 12-step programs.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just factually true. It's been around the longest.
Yeah.
It also has had better success rates at given times than anything else ever has.
Yeah.
Right? When it first started, they had basically 100% success rate.
Yeah.
And then they said, you know, in the book it outlines it. There's only basically 2 people that can't get sober doing this. Right? It's people who are born fundamentally incapable of grasping a life that requires rigorous honesty. So, fundamental liars and psychopaths.
Yeah.
Right? And so in a day and age where it's basically completely flipped and we have almost 100% failure rate, like when you boil down all of the statistics, it's staggering how many times people have to go to treatment. But what are we all, just like fundamentally liars and psychopaths? No. Right? It's the implementation of the programming and all this stuff. And it's like, it says it in the program, it's principles before personalities. But if Bill and Bob showed up today and just both went to like random meetings, they'd be like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
You know? And a lot of like, so when I got into anything, honestly, when I get into anything, but when I got into the 12 steps programs, I was like really interested in history, because one thing that prison taught me was the value of your history.
Okay.
Right? And so like the history of my gang, like who were the first people? Like I used to be able to name every gang member in my gang before me.
Oh, really?
Right. Like it was, so I knew my history, right? And then I got into this and it was like another secret society. And I was like, okay. And then I found out that like Bill and Bob were doing anything that worked to the point where they were doing like LSD workshops.
Yeah.
Right? They were doing like seances, and like it is a spiritual program, and they ventured out into like all these different spiritual paths.
Yeah.
Right? And then a lot of people don't like to, a lot of people focus on like the 12 and 12, the big book, and then As Bill Sees It.
Yeah.
There are 9 other core,
you
know, there's 12 core literatures in the program, and it's like, how many people have read them?
Yeah, not a lot.
Not a lot.
No.
And if you do read it, you find out that like the history of AA is pretty sordid and like all over the place and messy.
Yeah.
And what it ultimately boils down to is whatever works.
Yeah.
Right. And so now it's like we live in a day and age where it's like people are either all in or they don't want to participate with it.
Yeah.
Right. And then there's like, this is where like the cult conversations come up and like all the BS that for whatever reason, a lot of people have their reasons why they talk shit about the 12-step program.
Yeah.
I don't talk shit about the 12-step program.
Yeah.
Right. I try to raise awareness around what goes on in the rooms.
Yeah.
Because the program's in the book. It's not in the rooms.
True.
Right.
Yeah, I know my sponsor's big on. He's like, the book is designed that you can do it anywhere.
Yeah.
Like, that's the whole purpose of it. And I think like if you really go, and if they're trying like the LSD route and all these different ways to get spirituality to have that click, it's really like if anybody can sit there and truly believe that there's like that voice, that inner voice that's like helping guide you through this life, like you can just use that.
Yeah.
Right. And that, I remember the day that I was like, I went to my sponsor and I'm like, I have this weird idea. And he's like, what? And I go, I feel like I have this voice sometimes and it's always like, don't do that, do this. Right. And every time I go against it, something bad happens. But any time I've gone with it, nothing bad happens. It might not work out how I think it's going to work out, but nothing drastically bad happens in my life. And he's like, okay, you figured it out. He goes, now don't forget it. And honestly, from that day forward, the past 2018 when that kind of hit me?
God, that's 9 years. No.
17?
Yeah 9 years.
9.
Crazy.
Every move I've made has been off of that intuition. Like,
okay.
I don't know how to hire a scientist. I didn't know how to run a business. I don't know any of that. But like, if I felt like I was doing the right thing and listening to that, it worked out. There was some other areas I'm like, went against them and it didn't work out, but not in my sobriety, which is so hard to get somebody to understand that when you're explaining it to like a newcomer or something like that. They're like, this is to get you to like calming your mind so you can hear that, and you can feel that, and that's, that no wonder they went a bunch of different directions to try to get people to like, they're probably frantically trying to figure out like, how do we get them to feel what I felt?
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure.
But you can shape it around any type of room or, if you think about it, like the NA and all that, it's all the same 12 steps, just broken down in different wording, a little bit different spin on it.
Yeah, I think that there is a flawless nature to the steps, right?
Yeah.
It's like you can sit it. I think that anybody, addicted or not, would benefit from it.
100%.
But you could sit down with like a truly suffering, hopeless, helpless person, and give them hope and a pathway to really redeem themselves, right? What I see though is that, well, multiple things have happened.
Yeah.
The treatment industry adopted a 12-step model.
Yeah.
And that was like the end of 12-step because you now made something that was supposed to be voluntary, mandatory.
Yeah.
And you've attached consequences to it.
Yeah.
Right. And then now it's a preventative measure versus the last stop on the block.
Yeah.
Right. Where it was like previously when it was the most successful, this was like I was going to die or end up in a sanitarium.
Yeah. Or I have this option over here.
Or I can do this.
Yeah.
And so they would go do that and they were like, like across the board getting clean. Do you know what Synanon is?
Mm-mm.
Okay. That's all. Well, they have found other ways to implement basically the same principles.
Okay.
Right. And you can the reality is I think addiction might be a demon.
Okay.
Right. Because like when you look at like demons and like how they work, they if it is a singular demon, it does the same thing to everybody.
Okay.
Right. And then you can like exercise it, however, whatever, whatever. And it's always there though. Like you can, you hear that thing where it's like your addiction's in the corner doing push-ups.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And it's like you welcome that demon back in and it gets worse.
Yeah.
But the crazy part is like addiction in and of itself, I feel like it's whole, you hear all these people. It's like, I don't got another run in me. I'm going to go out there and die. And it's like, no, you're not.
Yeah.
Like, really, realistically, you've got another run in you. You don't have another recovery in you, if anything.
Yeah.
And most people, at least from where I sit, at least, right? It's like they hear all these cool kind of catchphrases, not the slogans inside the rooms, but like the personality. They attach to like these personality snippets.
Yeah.
And then they start regurgitating this like somebody else's story.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
somebody else's
parrots.
belief system. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, ultimately, I think the 12-step program, and I forget how it says it, but when you boil it down, it's supposed to return your life to you.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know about like, just do this.
Oh. All right.
Oh, shit. Hold on.
That's all right. I think that's good if I don't move.
This thing is...
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, I think 12-step is supposed to return your life to you. It's not supposed to take your life over.
Yeah. No, I remember. It's funny you say that because I started my first U. I got entered to AA, right?
Yeah.
And I thought it was such a joke because I wasn't desperate. I wasn't like willing to really listen. They said choose a sponsor, and I remember this one guy, like he talked really good and stuff, and so I was like, okay, I'm gonna have this guy be my sponsor. And then I found out like he had 25 years sober and he lived on a boat in the harbor, and I'm like, why the fuck would I want to live in a boat after 30 years of sobriety or 25 years of sobriety? I'm like, I want more for my life than that.
Yeah.
And like you said, there's some people that just hide in that room, and that's their life. That's their identity going forward. I'm just glad my path went a little bit different than that, you know?
Yeah, I mean, so where are you at now with your life? And like, how did you get out of it? Like, what happened? And then where are you at today?
So like the downfall, like I had a relapse in my last phase, but the bottom line was that house that I spray painted all the windows, you know, chrome and this and that. That was like probably the height of my addiction.
Okay.
I ended up losing that place, but right before that, my son was a sophomore in high school, and I remember him and his buddy came over, and I wasn't at the house, and they were trying to find a lighter because his friend wanted to smoke weed, and they found all my stash of everything. Mm-hmm. And so my son ended up taking a bunch of pictures and showing the counselor at school. And so that caused this, like, it created, like, it just unwound everything. So I was trying to hide it. My parents knew because they've seen me relapse and in and out. I already completed drug court. So they knew sober me. They know what I look like when I'm not. Mm-hmm. And then my son wrote a letter and basically, like, just wrote down, like, how he felt about the process and he wants his dad back. And I was so deflective of it all. So I remember they called me over for a meeting because I walked 2 blocks over to my parents. And then he reads this letter, and instead of having any empathy towards my son, I'm fucking pissed. I'm like, what a narc. Like, I can't believe he would do that to his own dad, you know?
Yeah.
Like, totally the wrong outlook. But, and so I was like, he finishes reading the letter, right? And I'm like, okay. I was like, that's cute. I was like, but I'm actually not doing anything. I was like, I just spun it, right? And they're like, okay, well, would you take a drug test? I said, yeah, absolutely. Calling, like, my parents, I was like, they don't know even how to do a drug test. And my dad pulls out this cup, and I said, I can't believe you actually would do that. And I ran out the door, and I like ran away at fucking 30 something years old. So that's kind of where I was at. The last 2 weeks of, I left, and I was in my car, house to house, friends' houses. And I remember the last week of my run, like when it got the thickest, basically my daily routine was I'd go to the casino, I'd pull vouchers that were 30 cents, 50 cents. I'd try to spin them on penny machines until I got enough to get high. I'd go to the little gas station around the corner. I'd steal 1 or 2 packs of caramel M&Ms. That was my lunch. That was my dinner. Like that's what I lived off of. And then during that time frame, like all I had was Wi-Fi, so I had Facebook, right? And I remember I saw a couple posts that my son had put down, and he like, most of my friends on Facebook were sober people because I've been in and out of AA. And he put all like my dad needs help and this and that. And so again, my mind, I'm like, quit fucking telling everybody that I'm not doing okay. Like, and I was like pissed at him, right? But one of those people reached out to somebody in California and got me a scholarship. I didn't even know it because I was still on the run. And then, like, otter God, like, I came home that day to my parents' house. I hadn't seen him for like 3 or 4 months. I remember I opened the door and my mom was like, looks like she saw a ghost, and she's like, "You're alive." I'm like, "Yeah, I don't know what to do anymore," you know. And I broke down, and she's like, "Well, Danny called, you know, and he wants to talk to you." And so he's like, "Look, I have a place. You don't have to pay for anything. You just have to find a flight out here." And it was like a new treatment center in California. And so I remember I was like, well, "Can you guys help me get there? Like, I really don't know what to do anymore." And then I remember my dad just looked over because he's got like the driest sense of humor. He's like, "Well, it is a one-way ticket." Like, that was to get me out of there, you know? So they sent me out there, and I like, you know, I never knew you could go to treatment with insurance. I'd never been to like a formal treatment center. I've gone to like a couple state detoxes in Washington that are just like in and out.
Dude, my wife went to a detox in Washington. I think it was in Olympia, but it was like an insane asylum.
Oh, okay. It's close to Olympia. I know what you're talking about.
It's like south of Olympia.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, yeah, it's in this tiny town. I think I went to it. That was one of the only detoxes I've ever been to.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of it, but
It's like in Jefferson.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I'll have to look it up after this.
Yeah.
It was co-ed? Was it?
Co-ed, but it's like a lockdown facility, and they have like mentally ill people in there.
Well, yeah, and a lot of it is tribal because it's state, and there's a lot of
Yeah.
and it,
Huge right there. It's tribal. Yeah.
so this place though was brand new, and it was it was like I think it was a co-ed facility, or maybe they made it a men's facility, but you had 6 beds on this side, 6 beds on that side, and only me in it. There was like nobody.
Oh, wow.
So I think at the end of it was like me, Hayden, and Tom. There was 3 guys in it, and I mean, when I finally like cleared my head and stuff, I think I was like a model client, and so they kept me in there for 60 days. So every time they did a tour, I'd be like, "I love this place," and I was like their biggest advocate.
Yeah.
But
What was it called?
Experience Recovery.
Okay.
They sold it. It's called, I think it's called something else now. But that crew there, you know, for the first time, I was like, okay, I'm gonna find a sponsor, and I'm actually gonna like, I'm not gonna. I had a fiance in prison that, I mean, I don't even really call it a fiance because I was high when I proposed to her and this and that, and she got picked up, and it was, and then I was smuggling drugs into the prison for her for a while. So she was still in there when I went to get sober, and she was pissed that I left.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, what do you expect me to do? You know? So my goal was to get my car back from my buddy that stole it from me. So beat up Robbie, and then be prepared for when she gets out of prison. And that's why I told everybody, like, I'm only going to be here for 2 weeks. And then something just changed in so I was like, okay, that's fine. If you want to do all that, great. But let's just do a few things first. And so I just made a commitment that I'm going to do the steps no matter what, and then I'll figure out where I want to go. And then I never really looked back from there. So,
Yeah.
So now, I mean, fast forward, I had 2 kids, and I have twins in sobriety. They're going to be 6 here in a couple months. My daughter that I didn't see, she's 14 now. I went back and got temporary custody of her. My son, I didn't talk to him for like the first 8 months out here. He works for me now.
Yeah.
He's been down there for 6 years now, I think. My nephew came and worked for me for a while. My godmother, she helps me do like the CPA and stuff like that for the company. Like, I've been able to build like this little trusted empire down there. It's been crazy.
Yeah, dude, it is crazy the transformation that is possible with recovery.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And it's always been like, and that just it didn't happen. There's like so many moving parts that just align perfectly. Like when you say like, there's no reason I can't believe that there's a God out there working for me. It's like, one is the second chances that you get, but the second one is like how things line up. Because I remember I've taken advantage of my parents so much, right? That I was like, I'm not going to ask them for anything. Like, I can't ask them for any more. Because I knew, like, my dad, he'd always had his, he always put his wallet underneath his seat in his truck. And like, in part of my addiction, I'd go out there and I'd just take $50 out, go get high. Next day, take $50 out. And then one day he's like, are you taking money out of my wallet? And I was like, and I didn't feel any empathy for me taking the money. I was more like, fuck, I'm not going to be able to get high anymore.
Yeah.
I was like, no. I was like, I'm not taking it. But he always had cash in his wallet. And so then I remember like the next day the truck was locked and I'm like, it's over. And then the day after that, it was unlocked. So I took $50 out and got high. The next night I did it again. And then I had this thought, I'm like, he wants me to get high. Like,
oh God.
You know what I mean? Like I was so delusional. So like my thing was, I'm not asking him for anything. And so when I got to the 60-day mark and I was really ready to get back out there, I remember my counselor, she said, I was like, I need to get a good job because I had good jobs in the past. I'm like, I can't support my kids, you know? And she's like, well, I don't think you've really supported your kids at all, ever, you know? And it hit me. I'm like, she's right. I just say I'm a single dad. I'm not. My parents help raise my kids. Like I've been so destructive. So I'm like, okay. So I said, I really want to go to Huntington. I'll get a job and my whole paycheck will go to sober living, but I want to stay down here. Knowing that I probably would never be able to actually do that. But the sober living area that I wanted, if I were to pick out of the 10 that she showed me, the one that I really wanted was the one that offered a 2-week scholarship. So for 2 weeks, I went over there. And then they said, we're going to extend it to 4 weeks. I was like, okay. And at that 4 week, I remember that day, I was like, I have to call my parents and ask for help for rent because I don't have rent money yet. And they gave me a temporary house manager spot, so I didn't have to do that. But in that process, that counselor, like the one thing that she said was, you've never taken care of your kids, so like build your program first, and then whatever time you have left, go find that job. And so I wrote it out, and it was like 15 hours. I was like, I don't think anybody's going to hire me for 15 hours, you know? And she's like, well, just try it. So the first place I went to, I literally had it written down, and I pulled it out of my pocket, I was like, well, this is my availability. And I like slid it over to him. I was like, that's about what I can work right now. And he's like, oh, okay, perfect. That's what I want right now. I was like, oh, for real? And it was like a get well job doing cold call sales for treatment centers, like for billing to help them. And it was in that job where somebody said they wanted to open a lab. And if I could do the research, which I knew nothing about. And I'm like, I wanted the billing client. So I did the research, did all that. It didn't work out, but I had that data, and then I found somebody that would invest in me to open that up in California.
Yeah.
But the only reason I even made that call to that lady was my sponsor and I, I remember he's like, well, how's work going? I go, I fucking hate it. And I was like, we play this game where like whoever makes the least amount of calls and closes the most deals wins, and then like I get free lunch if we win, right? And he's like, oh, you're like robbing from your work. And I go, no, I'm like their best salesperson. And he goes, yeah, but you're not even making calls. Isn't your job to call all day? And I go, well, no, the job's to sell, and I sell. And he's like, no, you're fucking lying. He's like, you're stealing from your job. He goes, why don't you just put 2 weeks of like 100% effort and see what happens? And it was in that 2 week period where I started hitting the phones. I made that call.
Damn.
So it's like all those little lineups, you know, and stuff like that through the process, you know, and yeah, it's crazy.
So what are you doing now?
Now I own Monarch Diagnostics, so a big lab in Orange County. Like I said, I have a big family with all the kids. I still sponsor people. I still go to a meeting here and there. I mean, the lab side of it, I started that in 2019 I wanted to be part of the treatment community still. I didn't want to work in treatment because I didn't want to replace what I was doing at the time, is how I looked at it. But I wanted to be part of it, right? So Monarch opened up, which honestly, like my goal was like, if I can make $3 or $4 grand a month, like I'll be set. Like that was my mentality then. And so I had a really small vision for it, but I think that was the first time I've ever really followed through with the plan fully, like from A to Z.
And it worked.
You know.
So crazy.
I expanded that company to Texas. We got it up to like 180 employees at one point. I bought a salon. I bought a gym. I bought a wellness company. We're creating a billing company. We recently bought a security company, trying to venture out into doing some other stuff. But I really, with that same mindset of like, you can do anything. Like, I think like if you don't know something and you start on it, in a couple of years, you can become an expert if you're like infatuated with what you do.
Yeah, for sure.
You know? So now, I mean, I love to I have no complaints in life. Like I got to go to that Camp Sober Fest and sponsor it. I travel for golf and do tournaments, and I have a good group of guys that are sober, and like we travel around and play softball tournaments. I do golf tournaments. I finally got a passport. I've been able to use it the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Like, life's been pretty full now.
Yeah. So like, that's when I worked with this kid recently. He's 25, and he asked me the crazy. He was an alcoholic at 25, like a full blown alcoholic at 25, and he was like, "How do you separate fun from alcohol?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh shit, I don't know."
Yeah.
Right. Like I don't drink.
Yeah.
Right. And it's very easy for me to separate from fun from myself. There is no like fun.
Yeah.
In heroin and meth.
No.
There's like chaos.
Yeah.
And there's like excitement in that.
But a rush
Yeah.
of some sort. Yeah.
But the fun, like I don't know.
Yeah.
And then I asked him, I was like, well, are you actually like having fun drinking? Right? It's like, and his answer baffled me. He goes, yeah, no, all of my friends drink. And things start like clicking into place. Like as he's talking, he's like, all my friends drink, my fiance drinks, and my parents drink, and I golf. And so, and he worked at a golf course like while he was going through college, and it was like, and he was like, I see billionaires that drink.
Yeah.
I see successful people that drink. All my friends have fun when they drink, but I have fun when I drink with them, but then I just can't stop.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, that is a conundrum. Like, because if you can't stop drinking when the fun is over, then what's going on when you're not having fun? He was like, it's fucking miserable.
Yeah.
Right. And so then he started trying to just constantly be around other people to drink.
Yeah.
And it just turned into this like explosion of chaos.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know how you separate fun from drinking.
Yeah.
But I know that you can have fun without drinking.
Yeah.
Right. And he was like, oh.
Yeah.
Okay. And I was like, dude, have you ever, and you're like, he's young. I was like, have you ever done YPAW? He was like, oh, it's not really a thing in Texas.
No.
And it's true. It's
Yeah.
like not really a thing in Texas. And I was like, well, have you done like sober events? Like, what have you tried sober? And then he was like, oh, I've sponsored people. Like I've done the program. I was like, fuck, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not the fun part. That is healing, but that's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But where I'm going with all this is like you got a life that you never had.
Absolutely.
Right. Whereas like and that's me too. Like I got a life I never had. But like what do you do for people where it's like he had like a privileged life,
Yeah.
So it's like really hard for like I feel really bad for alcoholics.
Yeah.
Because it's everywhere. It's socially acceptable.
Yeah.
And in a lot of social situations, you're like the weirdo if you're not drinking.
Yeah, 100%.
I
think that was a hard thing for me is like when I would, like it didn't work out with my twins' mom, and so I'd start dating, so I went on apps. It's like, it's the most awkward thing to tell somebody like on a date, like I don't drink, and then they start prying into it. It's just uncomfortable. I hated that part of it. Luckily, like I have someone now that like understands it, and she's amazing. But before that, in that process of it, it was tough. I think the coolest thing though in my journey isn't all that other stuff. It's like there's some people really close to me in my life that have became sober just based off of like
the ripple effect.
The ripple effect of it is phenomenal. Like I remember, I might throw him under the bus a little bit, but my mentor who called me out when I worked at Verizon ended up working with me, and he always
Scott?
Yeah. He'd go around. He's like, yeah, I'm 15 years clean. In the back of my head, I'm like, dude, you're not sober though. But I don't say anything. I love Scott, and that's his story. And I'm not one to be like, well, you're not really doing this right. Or that. I just stay out of it. I let the process happen. But I remember I took him like his first week that I hired him. We went out to West Coast, and there was this rave, and he's like, how the fuck are people not? How are they having fun right now? And I go, this is just how it is, Scott. And so
wait, when I met, right after I met you, that was like his first.
That was his first event.
What?
West Coast, yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Well, wait, no, there was the one in the Lone Star
Austin,
one,
yeah,
and then West Coast was right around the corner, I think.
West Coast is just a different animal.
First, yeah. So anyway, he went back and he wouldn't stop talking about how he couldn't believe that. And then I remember we went out to Vegas and him and his wife they were pretty shit faced, and I'm like, man, he doesn't even get it, you know. And so I don't say anything. I let him. Like I'm his friend. I've been his friend throughout. That's not my place.
Yeah.
And so, the coolest part was he's like, I just seen how you can do anything and you don't need that drink and you still have like the time of your life. He's like, I don't understand it, but now him and Shannon are 6 months, or now they're probably 7 months sober.
Yeah.
My sister, the same thing happened. I remember early on, like my sister battled the meth thing. She actually had my biological mom stay with her. She had her son she had her son like I had to go physically take her son out of her house when he was 3.5, which was like the hardest. Like I felt like I was taking myself out of my mom's house.
For sure.
You know what I mean? So I remember I went back to Washington because I'd go back and forth a lot for my daughter and my parents and stuff. And it was Christmas Eve. Yeah, it was Christmas Eve. And she's like, hey, are you doing anything? I would love to see you. And I'm like the most selfish. Like, I'm like, I want to go out with this girl or this girl. I had so many, I want to see these friends I haven't seen for a while. And for whatever reason, I'm like, I'll come see you. So I drove out to her house, which was like half an hour away. And I opened the door and she has this big black eye. And I'm like, what the fuck happened to you? And she got in a fight with like her kid's baby's mama or like whatever, his girlfriend, right?
Yeah.
And so she goes on like this hour story about how, you know, she needs to go to church and this and that and all these other things. And I'm like, I have an idea. And she's like, what? And I was like, do you want to see if there's a meeting tonight? So we went to this meeting on Christmas Eve and she's been sober ever since.
That's awesome.
It's stuff like that really like pushes me forward, you know?
Yeah, it's the ripple effect. Have you heard me talk about like the debt of recovery?
Mm-hmm. Nah, a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like the debt, and then what couples with that is the ripple effect. And it's like, it's amazing to me. So I posted a short the other day, and I'm getting like so much hate over it, right?
Yeah.
Because I was like, I just told people, I tell people all the time that if you're going to get sober and then not help people, then you're fucking pointless to us. So just stay using.
Oh, that's funny.
Right? Like, if you're not here to help, then what are you doing? Like, why are you even getting sober?
Yeah.
Right? Like, selfish? You're being selfish, right? Like, and I've done this selfish sobriety, right? Where it's like, I'm just sober to not go to prison, or I'm just sober to like whatever. And it's like, and that's part of like the destructive, like the part of the destruction that came with like marrying the 12 steps to the treatment industry. Yeah. And I'm I own treatment. And so like a lot of the shit that I say is like super, like, doesn't help me. Yeah. Right? Like telling people that treatment doesn't work, telling people that the 12-step model's broken, like all this stuff is like not going to help me ultimately in the long run. But the reality is, like, people come into recovery that don't belong here all the time. Yeah. Right? They're either not addicts and trying to get out of like, well, okay, so what ended up happening is the 12-step program became a really good way to alleviate consequences. Oh, yeah. Right? But nobody's like attaching to the solution. Yeah. They're just attaching to the benefits. Yeah. Right? So it's like you come here, you reap your benefit, and then you dip. Right? Yeah. Or you come here selfishly, you get sober, and then you don't help anybody. And it's like, what are you even doing here? Yeah. And so I got like all these people that are hate commenting like, this dude's a donkey, like, oh really? Yeah. Like, this dude's a donkey, he's full of shit. Somebody was like, this is the worst take on recovery ever. And I just ask him, like, tell me why. Yeah. Like, tell me why I'm wrong. Yeah. Because my whole thing about all this is like, I'm going to continue to talk about all this stuff until somebody proves that I'm wrong. Yeah. And then when you do that, I was wrong. Yeah. I think from my side of it, my take on it is like, if it wasn't for a program, I wouldn't have had enough clarity to start a step work. For sure. Right? I mean, it's because you're right. If I took that program and just kept going on it for a year or two, if I'm locked in there, I'll stay sober for that 2 years. Doesn't mean I'm going to grow. Yeah. Right? Because I did, well, in Washington, they just have, they're more like IOPs everywhere. Yeah. Right? And I remember one of them, before I came out here, I kept trying, right? And
I remember I got into this one IOP and they're like, you need to come by and do a drug test. And I'm like, okay. I do the drug test. I come back and they're like, we can't take you. And I'm like, why? They're like, you know how many drugs we found in your in your system? I'm like, I know, that's why I need help. They're like, no, we can't do that level of care.
Crazy.
And then I tried to get into a state facility and they're like, okay, call us back in a week. And I'm like, I'm not going to make it a week. Like, I just know, like, the way I'm on, I'm not going to make it. And, yeah, just, the clarity I got, just a disconnect, was enough for me to find somebody to walk me through those steps. And that's exactly what I needed.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, William White said it. William White said that in the history of addiction treatment, in the entire history, so 600,000 people go to residential a year across the country. Yeah. Over, let's say, 60 years, right? So what is that? Like, what's 6 times 6? 36? Yeah. 3.5 million people have gone to treatment. Wait, 600? No. 36 million people have gone to treatment in the last 60 years. Yeah. 36 million. That is a huge number. Yeah. He was like, in the history of addiction treatment has never gotten anybody sober. Yeah. Right? And then he goes on to talk about, like, why. And ultimately what it comes down to is treatment happens in facilities and recovery happens in community. Yeah. Right? You can lock somebody in a room for the rest of forever and they'll stay sober. Yeah. But what is the quality of the recovery? True. Right? And so when people talk about, oh, AA didn't work, I think it's the funniest thing when they're like, oh, AA didn't work. It's like, you can only claim that AA didn't work as if you were sponsoring people and it didn't work. Yeah. Right? Like, how many people that say AA didn't work end up sponsoring people? Like, no one. Yeah. Right? They're like, what step did you get to? What is step 3? Yeah. I'm like, like, dude, it didn't work because you didn't do it. Yeah.
I remember, which is funny because one of my best friends, Ryan, he lives up in Washington. And he was like the only person from AA that, like, when I was out, he'd just come by every week. Hey, you ready to go back? You ready to try it? Like, and he was always there, right? And I remember telling him when I was sober, they had this meeting, and every Saturday they'd pick a speaker. And I was like, man, they never pick me. I'm like, I mean, I would stand up, I'd talk about every single step. Never did the steps though. And then, and so I, like, had this little resentment, like, they never fucking chose me to speak, you know? And then I finally get through all the steps and I went back and I told him that. I was like, you know how, like, upset I was that you guys never picked me to do the meeting, to lead the meeting or speak? And he's like, yeah, because you never did a step. And he goes, we all knew that you talked about your 4-step and what it did for you, and we all just would laugh because we knew you never did a step in your life. And I just faked the whole, I think I had 2 years sober. And people would talk about the 4-step. I raised my hand. I talk about it, and it was like, I was like, "Oh, okay, you guys knew the whole time." He's like, "Yeah, obvious." So, I don't know. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, I mean, AA language is really easy to speak. Yeah. Right. But there's, like, depth and weight behind it when you do it. Yeah. And so, it's funny. Like, yeah, people, you can pick out the imposters all the time.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But. Okay, what else do you want to talk about?
I don't know. No, you shoot. What's the topic? What do you want to go over?
Okay, let's.
You steer it.
Okay, so as a child going through the foster system, like, I've talked to quite a few people who ended up in the foster system, and it's been like a mixed reaction around, like, good and bad.
Yeah. Right. I think we only hold on to the bad side of it, though.
Okay, so.
I mean, the only negative side that I remember was there was one family that I was the youngest in there. And so, like, I just remember them. I felt like they were mean to me specifically. I remember, like, I had an accident in the bathtub. I was 3.5, right? And they, like, made me wear my underwear on my head. And they did, like, all sorts of weird shit.
Oh, shit.
And then there was upstairs where all the kids hung out, and they wouldn't let me go there because I was the youngest one. And, like, it was, like, this weird, like, and I don't know exactly what I remember from it, but I remember, like, one of my adoptive parents, we went to this little place in Tacoma, and we ran into them. And my mom's like, the look that you, like, I, like froze and, like, hid behind my mom, my parent, you know?
Mm-hmm. Trauma.
Yeah, so there was some sort of trauma within that, which I don't even recall it, but I know, like, that was the only flashes of negativity that I had. I don't even remember the other house I went to.
Dude, do you want to hear something crazy? So the government keeps statistics on everything.
Okay.
Like anything that they fund, they
Yeah.
are tracking outcomes and statistics and like
Yeah.
and so they've got just these banks of statistics. And one of the things that I read recently was that children have better outcomes living in an abusive home.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Than they do in a single parent household or a single parent that dates.
Really?
Right. Yeah. So they have better outcomes on average if you stay in the home with your parents.
Really?
Yeah. Isn't that weird?
That is weird.
Yeah.
I mean, I know with my son, Gavin, I was so worried, but he lived everything that I went through, unfortunately.
Yeah.
You know, he was in and out of all of that. The kid is like the most like innocent, good kid. You know, so like you think like, okay, they're gonna follow that path, and like I gotta save up for treatment or whatever it is, and he's like the opposite of it. Like,
Yeah.
he stayed, and I think for his sake, he saw everything. He doesn't want to do that. Like I knew about my mom doing meth, so I said I'm never gonna do that. And I remember the day I did it, I'm like, fuck, I'm no better than my mom. You know, but I didn't stop me. I kept doing it
For sure.
But yeah, that's crazy that they track all that.
Oh, dude, anything that they fund,
Yeah,
they're keeping.
it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean they have so much information just going back to like the 40s and 50s and 60s, and it's like you can actually watch the statistics like decade over decade.
Yeah.
And watch the family deteriorate and just
Yeah.
watch the outcomes just drastically change for kids.
Yeah.
And a lot of it, I'm gonna get canceled. This podcast will get canceled someday.
You think so?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But a lot of it is tied to feminism,
Okay.
right? Like a lot of the downstream effects of feminism, and like, because ultimately what happened was you empowered. Do you know how, like the whole? Okay, so here's an interesting thing. How did people who couldn't vote get the right to vote?
I think we went over that when we had lunch that day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's like insane, right?
Yeah.
And it's like so. All these downstream effects where it's like you're gonna be a boss bitch and like you're gonna like all this stuff, and it's like, but what are your obligations to society?
Yeah.
Right? Men have these built-in obligations, right? Provide and protect.
Yeah.
Right? What is a woman's obligation?
Yeah.
Like, and when they get away from the obligation, which ultimately is just be a mom,
Yeah.
right? The downstream effect of that is like you've got nannies raising your kids, or the school system,
Yeah.
or divorces happen because whatever, and it's like the history of feminism is super interesting to me because do you know who Yuri Bezmenov is? Dude, a KGB defector. So in '84, probably like '83, he starts defecting.
Yeah.
And then goes through that whole debriefing process or whatever, and then like comes to the United States, and part of his deal was like, you have to publicly talk about what you know, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And what he talked about ultimately was the subversion of the American way, right? That communism has a 25 to 35 year plan, and we are going to we are going to subvert you guys from the inside, and there's nothing you can do about it. And then he lays out this whole plan around like the destruction of the nuclear family, like all of these things.
Yeah.
And he's like, 35 years from now, the American dream will be dead.
Yeah.
Right. And now it's like 35 years later. And when he has hours and hours of interviews, like TV interviews, talk show interviews and stuff like that. And it's amazing where it's like point after point after point after point. Do you know what like Marxist theory is? You know where like specifically queer Marxist theory, right?
Yeah.
Where it was this whole thing where they're going to implement this plan to separate kids from their parents' authority at the school level.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And then like the queerification of the American child and like all this stuff where it was like if you just start dividing the parent's authority from the child, the rest of it'll all just work itself out, right?
That's nuts.
And
There's so much. I mean, they can sway a nation with propaganda or whatever they want.
Dude.
And the whole thing about the American dream, if you really look at it, like growing up, it's like you can go out and afford a house right away. You can do all these different things and get a normal job, right? And I don't know how people do it. Like, because I can tell you, like, I make good money, and I'm looking in my pocket. I'm like, okay, I'm going to buy outside here, save that money. Then, I mean, it's just like, to get to where I want to be, I have to do all this other stuff, and I have to make 10 times what I ever dreamed I thought I had to make to buy a house. You know, I finally, like, when I showed up, though, to California, my credit score was 380. I didn't even know it could get that low. I remember I was trying to, like, clean up everything. I, like, cried. I opened pulled my credit. I'm like, what the hell? I'm never going to have credit, you know? And it took me probably 2 years, and I was like, I'm never going to be able to buy a house. So I finally, like, figured out, like, okay, I think I'm in the realm of being able to buy. And when we expanded to Texas, I was like, okay, that might be my opportunity. So I finally bought a house, which was pretty cool. But now I'm realizing that, like, I have this house over here. It's amazing, but I'm renting over here in Irvine. You know, like, how do I do that here? And the only way I can do it is go way outside that pocket. And I'm pretty successful. And if I have to do that, like, how does anybody else get there? You know? And especially, like, you know, my girlfriend has kids that are 21 and 24, like, and they're at home. It's like, and we talk about it. It's like, look, I don't get how they're going to do that. Like, it used to be like, you and your friends finish high school, you can go rent a room together and not a get well job, because they're not sick, but, like, get a basic job,
like an on your feet job.
Yeah, you go work at the mall, and the two of them could rent a place and start growing. Like, you can't do that anymore.
Their janitors could own a home, wife could stay home, they could raise 4 kids and own cars.
Yeah.
Right? But yeah, the American dream, I think, fundamentally is dead.
Yeah.
But are you a millennial?
Yeah.
So we are the last analog generation. You realize that, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I tell people all the time, it was like, kids today and the access to information and just, like, the hurdles that they don't have to call the house.
Yeah.
And pray to God that, like, the dad doesn't answer.
Yeah, no.
Right?
Yeah.
They don't. And then, because if they answer, now you're like, there's, like, gatekeepers.
Oh, yeah.
To like hitting, right?
Yeah.
It was
yeah.
Now it's, I mean, immediate pleasure, immediate gratification, everywhere, everything.
Everything is.
And then you've got this whole generation of kids that are just living at home. They're gonna live at home.
They're gonna live at home.
Yeah.
I lived at home. I mean, I felt bad for my adopted parents, because I was like, dude, you didn't know I was gonna live with you till I was 30, did you? You know, because I'd always move out, come back, move out, come back. They always had a door open for me, which I love that. But most of my generation was out on their own, and then they were out on their own.
Yeah.
Right now, though, I see that it's like, how does a kid get out of the house?
Dude, I recently interviewed a mom.
Yeah.
5.5 hour interview.
Yeah.
Right. And the reason why she came on, she's not in recovery.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, I think she is in recovery. Either way, she came on.
Yeah.
Because her son was addicted to devices.
Okay.
And he's 13, and they had to put him in a boarding school.
Really?
For device addiction.
Yeah.
Right? And this kid wrote a letter for her to read to me before the interview started.
Yeah.
Like, so we recorded her reading it, right? And it was like, this kid was quoting, like, classical literature. And it sounded like a college-age kid, 13 years old, right? And I was like, I feel like this is what a lot of us were like when we were that age just 20 short years ago.
Yeah.
Right? But now it's like, you've got, well, and then now you've got this Generation Alpha thing. Have you heard about this?
Mm-mm.
Generation Alpha, it's like they're 3 to 12 now. And these kids have so much access to information. These kids are making commitments to, like, sobriety and, like, celibacy and, like, stuff like that. And I think I know why, is because our generation's raising them.
Yeah.
And they're like, dude, they are fucked up.
Yeah.
Like, they're fucked up, and it's because of drugs and, like, easy sex.
Yeah.
And, dude, that's the easiest way to distract a young mind, a young male mind, is just sex.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
And I just had a talk with Scott about that, and his kid, he's like, I told him, like, it's your decision at the end of the day, but once you open that can of worms, there's nothing else that you're going to think about for the rest of your life.
For sure.
Like, that's so accurate.
For sure.
That's just how it works.
It's so crazy. Yeah, and so these kids nowadays, you know, there's, like, sober high schools. You probably do know this, right? Sober high schools, like, part of their curriculum is, like, education around this stuff, and like making like, the kids are making sure each other stay. Like, what do parties look like for them?
Right.
But it's like, probably like sober parties.
Probably,
those are pretty wild.
Yeah.
Right. So, just the decay of our society. You know, the high watermark of, I read this book in prison one time, and it was like the high watermark of the decay of a civilization is when they openly applaud the trans movement publicly.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? Like that's like a pretty good sign that like your civilization's about to collapse.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, that's been going on for
years
now.
Yeah.
Right? It's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
History's interesting. Our history is interesting.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, all right, dude. I definitely appreciate you coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
No, this has been fun.
Yeah.
I've been trying to get out here for a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Well, anytime you're out here, you can come on again. Also, we do lives on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Okay.
Well, Thursdays would be the day, really. So if you're ever out here on like a Thursday night,
Yeah.
you can come on.
Okay.
It's me and Scott, my executive director.
Yeah.
And we just have a guest on. We just bullshit about recovery, and
Perfect.
people like tune in on the live and like ask questions and shit. It's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I'd love to do it.
Yeah.
I'll be out here more.
Okay, for sure.
Perfect. Thanks
All right,
a lot.
man. Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Thanks for listening to My Last Relapse. I'm Matt Handy, the founder of Harmony Grove Behavioral Health, Houston, Texas, where our mission is to provide compassionate, evidence-based care for anyone facing addiction, mental health challenges, and co-occurring disorders. Find out more at harmonygrovebh.com. Follow and subscribe to My Last Relapse on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever you like to stream podcasts. Got a question for us? Leave a message or voicemail at mylastrelapse.com. If you're feeling overwhelmed or struggling, you don't have to face it alone. Reaching out for support is a sign of strength, and help is always available. If you or anyone you know needs help, give us a call 24 hours a day at 888-691-8295.